welcome back to Master Guitar Fret. My name is Jörg. In today's lesson we're going to venture into the open G tuning. We're going to look at some different things you can do in open G tuning, and this lesson is really a primer for an upcoming series I'm starting. I will have some videos coming up where I'm going to teach you how to play some really cool rhythm and also some really cool blues rhythm, as well as some lead parts in open G tuning. When these lessons are ready, a link will appear here for the first one. So until then, maybe just subscribe, hit the bell so you get notification when new lessons go up. So just quickly, why open G tuning? I tell you, open G tuning can provide some different fun from your standard tuning, especially if you're a guitarist that's kind of, maybe you're stuck in a rut or something like that. You pick up an open G tuning guitar and you discover different things, and sometimes it's a point of new inspiration and creativity. That's why I keep one of my guitars in open G tuning, so if I feel like playing a little bit in open G, then I can do so. Okay, I want to go right into it, don't want to talk too much about it, so you can get playing. And I'm also including a worksheet that I'm going to show some graphics to you, but that worksheet is available for a free download. You find it in the description of this video, okay? It's probably going to be very helpful to start out. Now, this is my standard guitar that I just tuned to open G, okay? And I'm not going to use this guitar today, but if you don't have a guitar that you can designate to open G tuning, you can very easily tune your standard guitar to an open G tuning. You just simply take the low E string, you tune it down to a D, you take the A string and you tone it down to a G. The D string remains the same, the G string remains the same, the B string remains the same, and the high E string is tuned down to a D. When you strum this, you have an open G. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stone, who made this tuning quite famous because a lot of the Rolling Stones have that signature open G tuning sound, and I'm going to give you a few examples of that down the road. And so he actually removes that top low E string, so he only plays it with 5 strings, okay? Now when you do that, and even if you don't take it off, because you're lowering your E string, your A string, and your high E string down, that adds less tension to the neck. So what happens is that the neck can kind of get flat a little bit. You normally have a little bit of a bow, so when you relax the strings, your neck will straighten out, and that can result in a low action or even some fret buzz. So if you just do it for fun, don't change anything, okay? Even if you have a little bit of fret buzz, it's okay. So don't change anything. But if you are going to designate a guitar, you might have to make some adjustments, and I will get into those in a little while, okay? They're not, by no means complicated, they're quite simple, and but maybe necessary to do so. The reason why we take off the E string is we play this A minor chord here in open G tuning. It looks a little different. I'll explain that in a minute. So the bass note is not A, right? It's actually D. And it just doesn't sound superbly, right? And that E string gets a little bit in the way, even when we play chords. That's a C chord. So when you play your guitar now with open G tuning, then try to avoid hitting the top string. Just try to hit the 5 bottom ones, all right? Or try to mute it a little bit with your index finger if you can do that. Okay, whatever works for you, right? And if you hit it, no big deal. Okay, this is just a practice, and this is just to get you used to it. This is just to remind you that that top E string often doesn't sound good, and that's why Keith Richards took it right off the guitar, okay? I'm going to switch to my guitar that I use for open G tuning. And here we are. So as you can see, there's no string. That low E string is off. And because I don't have the same tension now on the neck that I had with 6 string in standard tuning, I did have to make some adjustments. I actually had to tighten my truss rod a quarter turn, okay, to get a little bit more bow on the neck so I don't get fret buzz and too low of an action, right? And that might be something that you need to do. When I changed over in the winter, where I had a high action anyway because of environmental changes in temperature and so forth here where I live, it was quite fine. But as spring came along, the neck started to straighten out, so I had to tighten it up a little bit, okay? 1/4 turn, really not a big adjustment. And I might have to raise my action a tiny bit, but for now I just leave it as is, okay? So I'm going to show you some scales that you can play. I'll show you where the major scale is, the major pentatonic, because you can use that a lot. Right, you can use these little major licks in your rhythm, and they're all over the place, right? I'm also going to show you the minor scale, where it is, and the minor pentatonic scale, and might throw in a few licks, but in reality, like I said, this is a primer, so you can get ready for a couple of really cool lessons that are coming up, some rhythm lesson and some lead solo lessons, okay, in open G. Let's look at the chords, okay, just the standard major chords. So we have open G. After G comes G flat, A flat, B, C, half step, right? C flat, D, D flat, E, half step to F, and full step to G, a full octave, right? The notes in the G major scale are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So there's an F sharp in here. And when we harmonize them with chords, then it sounds like this. And I'll show you the chord, I'll explain the chords later on, but open is G major. Then the first A is a minor, a B minor, a C major, a D major, E minor, and then an F sharp 7. There we go. So let me show you the scales, and then I'm going to show you some of the chords. So the major scale, the major pentatonic, we basically take the 4th as well as the 7th off, okay? We can also play it like that. And then open G. There's a lot of cool things you can do here, and that's the stuff that we're going to learn in future lessons, okay? Great harmonizing. Right, sounds so cool. So it's very simple to play because the chords always ring out, the notes of the chords always ring out, even if you do. Right, so you can do all kinds of cool stuff. I encourage you just to play around with it and see what kinds of sounds you can come up with, okay? So the major scale obviously continues on, right? Okay, so you can play it down here too. So it's handy for when you do some lead playing, okay? Which we're going to cover in many of the lessons that are in the pipes. The minor scale, okay, and then for the minor pentatonic, we basically take the 2nd and the 6th away. that leaves us with. And if you want to put in the blue note, in the blue scale, right? Okay, so that's for the scale, and of course it repeats itself down here. Okay. And of course, if we just play the pentatonic. Okay, so again, we're going to be checking out some of this stuff in future lessons. This is just simply a primer. All right, so let's look at some of the chords. Right, so we have the open, the major chords. Very simply, we just have to bar them. So let's do a 1, 4, 5 progression would be. Just bar all the strings. Okay. Now the minor chords, okay, we play them right here. So that is A minor, right here. Now you can also put the pinky on the G chord. I usually play without it. I learned Wild Horses from the Rolling Stones, and that's how I play it, right? So pinky, it's actually like normal A minor chord in standard is like this. This is a shape. Now in open G tuning, you just move those two fingers up one notch, okay? Right? And the pinky can go on if you want to, but I'll leave it off. I got it from Wild Horses from the Rolling Stones, where he plays it like this. Okay, just a little demonstration, like again, this is open G tuning. And I'm going to be using a lot of these techniques from Wild Horses in the upcoming lesson, like these harmonizing things. Right? Remember that? Okay, so some of that stuff I'm going to include because I'm stealing some of that stuff in my own little compositions that I'm going to feature. Okay, there's plenty of Wild Horses lessons out there in the YouTube universe. All right, so minors are here. I just showed you before how to play the harmonized G major scale, right? And we know that we have an A minor, we have a B minor, and we have an E minor. Right? So any chord progression in G, you can use these prominently. You can use these minor chords in it. So that's probably something you should learn right away, because most of the tunes that you're going to play in open G tuning are in G. Okay? And of course you can obviously put a capo on. If you want to have a different key, put a capo on the 2nd fret. Will give you A, right? If that's what you desire, all right? So definitely A minor is great to use, a B minor, like in Wild Horses, and an E minor. So a 7 chord, if you want to play 7s, it's basically a bar again. Here's an A. Let's do a G7. G7 is quite simple, okay? So open G, and then on the 3rd fret. So 4 frets down on the bottom string, on the high E string, which is now tuned to D. Let's C. You can use a pinky if you have long fingers, which I don't. And also use your ring finger. That's a bit of a stretch for me, so I use the pinky. D. So that is a 7 chord. If you want to learn more open G tuning chords, I have included a chart in my description, free to download and print out and have your fun with it. There's another couple of chords I want to show you. And the reason for that is they just sound really good, okay? And you probably recognize those. So we have a G suspended, so open. We put the middle finger on the first fret, B string. Right, that's a suspended fourth. That's a C suspended fourth. Right, and you can play those everywhere. Sounds very nice in open G. Then we're going to do the G at 9, play open on the second fret of the G string. So that is the G at 9. That's a C at 9. That's the suspended fourth C, right? You can play different combinations of the add 9 and the suspended fourth and see how it sounds, right? Just have some fun with it. You know, no boundaries, right? Be creative and have fun. Because guitar playing should be fun and enjoyable. The next one I want to show you, I kind of had to look it up because I just kind of stumbled on it accidentally. An A suspended flat sixth. Okay, so what we do is we bar this, and then with our middle finger we go to the D3 and the B3. In that position, it could also be a D minor at 9. Okay, so it's a little bit, but just have some fun with it. So I call it, and I'll say this because I'm in A, so I call it an A suspended flat sixth. So this would be a C suspended flat sixth. Right, so you can play around with all the ones I just showed you. The at 9, the suspended fourth, and the suspended flat sixth. Okay, now my most favorite chord is, I call it the Keith Richards chord. It is the A6 suspended. So we're in A, right? We're adding middle finger to the B3 and the ring finger to the D4. Okay, and we'll do the same in G. So that's now an A, this is now a G6 suspended. Do we recognize that? Or do we recognize this? Do we recognize this? Isn't that cool? Like, I love this. Like, and hey, this is so refreshing. And I'm a big Rolling Stones fan. Anyway, as some of you might know, because I have another lesson about the Rolling Stones, an old one. But I love these chords, right? So have some fun with this. And hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope you enjoyed this little primer. If you have a question, fire it away. Send me a comment, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about open G tuning or any problems you might encounter. But until next time, and stay tuned for those cool lessons that are coming out. Until next time, I will see you soon. Take care, and don't forget to have fun playing that guitar. All right, take care. Bye-bye.